leaders are convening in this one place at the same time to address some of the biggest challenges facing our world is a sign of strength.
Well, Anurag Viswanath is a policies analyst at the Institute of Chinese Studies. She joins us now live from Singapore. Thanks very much for being with us. So we just heard from the US Vice President there saying this is a big event, lots of leaders attending. But isn't this noticeable by who isn't attending? President Joe Biden is not there. The Chinese leader is not there. He's sending his premier there and so on. What should we read into that?
Well, President Xi is not attending, and President Joe Biden is also not attending, but he'll be attending the G20. Well, this summit comes in the shadow of growing US-China rivalry. And as you know, for the US, it wants to be a pivot in Asia. It wants a free and open Indo-Pacific. So ASEAN is very central. For China, China and ASEAN are largest trading partners of each other. And ASEAN is one of the biggest and largest markets for China. Most of the overseas Chinese live in this region, and some of the most landmark BRI projects of China are in this region. China-Laos Railway, China-Vietnam Railway, and of course in Indonesia, Jakarta to Bandung. So landmark projects of China in this region. So this region is very critical, very central, very important for both Asia, for both US and China. So ASEAN as a bloc has decided not to get bogged down, not to get dragged in to the growing rivalry between US and China. Joko Widodo, the Indonesian Prime Minister, has announced that ASEAN is going to be very independent, and each of the countries in ASEAN are going to be sailing their own ship, and they are not going to be an arena for geopolitical rivalry between US and China.
But despite that, there are going to be areas of disagreement, areas of contention, inevitably. Where do you see those here?
Well, there is a lot of stalemate. This was also held in the shadow of the Chinese releasing a new national map. As you know, Chinese claims in the South China Sea is limited to what has been called the 9 dash line in the South China Sea. So the Chinese have added a 10th dash line, which is to the east of Taiwan, and so it covers practically almost all of South China Sea. And in the South China Sea, there are several ASEAN countries which have competing and overlapping claims with China. The fact that South China Sea still does not have a code of conduct, and the fact that there are still overlapping claims between China and several ASEAN countries is going to be very challenging and a source of friction. The other stalemate is Myanmar, where despite the 5-point consensus, things have not normalized. The political situation in Myanmar has not normalized, and so Myanmar is another challenge. The third challenge, of course, is the trilateral partnership between US, Japan, and Korea, and China has taken note of that. And of course, there is still friction between several ASEAN countries amongst themselves. For instance, you have Thailand and Cambodia over Priya Vihar. So several challenges continue to simmer.
Indeed, good to get your thoughts on this. Anurag Viswanath, thanks for being with us.